My parents and I moved to a new town from a city. I've started dating a girl from my soccer team. I'm also a girl. I found out that my neighbors have cameras looking outside their house to the street and mini park when my mom said that one of the neighbors had sent her a picture of my girlfriend and me at the park at 6 p.m., pettily hinting that I should not be outside there at night. It felt so creepy the neighbor did that. And it also felt weird that I know he never does that to my straight friends who hang out there, even much later. Even though my parents know I'm dating a girl, many people's parents might not know or accept that and could get someone hurt. Anyway, a few days later, I was going to help my friend from school replace the shifters on her bike. A different neighbor of mine sent a picture to my mom of me coming down the street on a bicycle too big for me, commenting that this was not my bike, seeming to imply I stole it. Anyway, I was starting to get really creeped out. I'm in this neighborhood watch Facebook group that most of the parents on the block are in. I've never posted there before, but this time I took the pictures my mom had got of me and made a post. Hey neighbors, I'm OP. I go to X school and I'm a junior. I've noticed a local safety concern I wanted to make you aware of. In the last few weeks, I've been filmed on the street or in the public park by strangers. I'm a teen and so is my partner, and we were very creeped out and uncomfortable to know we were being recorded in a private romantic moment when we thought we were alone. Another time, someone took this picture when I was biking home alone in the evening. I know this sounds crazy, but I'm serious. See the pictures here. Please take care if you have younger children or are even going out alone as a woman. I didn't know what to expect, but it blew up. Some parents saw it as creepy that someone was taking that type of photo, but then the man's wife who took a photo of my girlfriend and I commented. She said that her husband only took the photo because he wanted to check with my parents about me being out past dark. I said it was 6 p.m. and that I knew her husband wasn't taking pictures of the many straight couples I know, mentioning a few friends I checked with, and her husband was acting differently by taking pictures of the two girls. She sent me an angry reply, accusing me of calling her husband creepy. Now, this is where I may have messed up. I said I'm not trying to call him a creep. I'm trying to call him a bigot. She got mad enough to call my mom, who sent her the voicemail, but the post also blew up with arguments. Many people were saying stuff like it's not cool to take pictures of kids without their parents knowing. Some were defending the picture taking. Am I the idiot for taking this public? Not the idiot. As a ring owner, I've set the settings to only capture what happens within my property line. This neighbor is too much of a busybody, policing what people do outside of his home boundary, and especially emailing it to your mom. And I empathize, OP. I'm bi, and before I got married, 13 years ago, let's be honest, LMAO, I was in a serious relationship with the girl back in college. My sister was evil, and while my parents were trying to wrap their heads around me coming out, she would spy on my girlfriend and me on campus, embellish, and just make stuff up. It sucks. I understand how stressful that is. Taking pictures of teens in the park in the neighborhood, then sending those pictures to the teens' parents to snitch on them? Why did this grown man think he was put in charge of monitoring whether or not you were out after dark anyway? That's none of his business, and it's messed up that he did that to you. The neighbors have your mom's phone number, as they sent the photos. If they were concerned for your safety, they would call your mother rather than take photos of you. It sounds like nosy busybodies who have nothing better to do. Not the idiot, OP. You hit the nail on the head. Blow it up and get it out there into the public so that people know exactly who they're living near. If he thinks he can shame you to your parents, then that sounds like his blessing for you to shame him to the neighbors. Sister-in-law, my wife, and I are all in our mid-30s. She's staying at our apartment while water damage to hers is repaired. Unfortunately, the apartment above her decided to have problems with the bathtub. It's mostly been fine, but we've recently been having a huge argument. Our apartment's heat has gone crazy, with the heat pushing to nearly 80 degrees. This is in Minnesota, so 80 is a breaking point for a lot of us. The property management company is aware of the problem, but it'll be about a week before it can get fixed, since it's not an emergency. Since it's been so hot, I've decided to start going shirtless. I work from home, so I see no reason to be miserable all day. I'm very much basic guy body. Nothing at all special to look at, but not fat hairy either. I'm store-brand vanilla ice cream with my shirt off. This is weirdly relevant. My sister-in-law flipped when I walked into the kitchen to get some water because I didn't bother putting on a shirt to leave the office. Comments along the lines of, "Ew, gross, I don't want to see that. Have some decency." I ignored her, but she kept nagging me. Note, at this point, both she and my wife are wearing sleep shorts and tank tops, cami tops. So unless I'm cooking, I'm shirtless until we get things fixed. This includes sitting on the couch. Sister-in-law eventually said, "Seeing you without a shirt is gross and makes me feel sick. You need to keep a shirt on." I replied, "I don't care. My physical comfort is more important than your inability to deal with what you see." My wife had had a couple of drinks and laughed at my comment, which caused sister-in-law to snap at her. "It's not funny, it's gross. What would you say if I just had my tits hanging out?" Wife snorted laughter and said, "Oh no, danger, boobs. Well, if you think my husband's gross, you can get out of our apartment." Sister-in-law stumped out of the room and went to call her parents. My father-in-law took our side. Mother-in-law scolded me for being disrespectful of guests and that I should be more considerate of her daughter's feelings. "Not the idiot. Your sister-in-law is being entitled," and your wife's response amused me. She's right. If your sister-in-law is so upset by a man's chest, she can leave. How does she endure the summer? Does she avoid all pools, beaches, workout areas, and parks? You and your wife should plan a beach trip and make sure to tell sister-in-law she won't be invited since the sight of your beach body is so traumatizing for her. Not the idiot. Sister-in-law has a nasty attitude, trying to body shame someone like that. It's your house and it's just your shirt. It's not like you're having your privates around the apartment. I would have given her the option of shutting up or using the door after the first few comments. Invite mother-in-law to host sister-in-law until the apartment is ready. I, male 32, have been with my wife 30 for 3 years. She comes from a country where women can keep their maiden name after marriage, which was fine with me. However, as someone from the South, my family pushed for my wife to take my last name. Still, she ended up keeping hers, which made my family somewhat unhappy, saying it was disrespectful of her to keep her maiden name. But thankfully they got over it, and things got better, and we reconciled later. The last name issue was brought up again when my wife and I found out we were expecting a baby boy. I sat my wife down and told her that my son was going to get my last name and explained why, so that there's no confusion. She disagreed and said no and came up with a compromise. Our son gets both our last names, but I declined, explaining how awkward and confusing and just complicated that would be, not to mention the middle name, so that would be a long name. But she said I should consider since my last name will still be there. But I said no and told her we'd have to go with what most families here do, and that's going by the father's last name. She threw a fit, calling me selfish, and accused me of treating her as if a mother gets less say or no say. But I reminded her that she got to keep her maiden name and so we're even. She then argued that I was mixing two unrelated things and was holding the fact she got to keep her maiden name over her head, though it was her right to do that same with deciding what surname our son will have. I said I was sorry. Still, I could not accept this compromise, especially with how my family would react, and told her she should go with the flow and agree on my son having my last name. She got upset and refused to talk to me after that, calling me selfish and a dictator and a minion for my family, even though I was just looking out for our son's best interest and keeping them in mind. I just think she's being deliberately stubborn here, but I'm not sure. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. The decision has to be mutual. It seems unilateral and doesn't reflect your mutual wants and needs. It reads as you decided for both of you. You set a fact, and she has to comply. You think you can veto her because you're a man. She didn't have to change her surname to yours, and it doesn't mean that she has to name her kids after you. You didn't do her a favor by allowing her to keep her last name. She would have done that regardless of your objection and thoughts on the matter, and even despite them. My son, not even our. OP's wife seems to be an incubator and nothing else. I didn't see the slightest amount of affection in this whole horrible misogynist pamphlet. Massive idiot. OP, I can't wait till your wife sits you down and tells you that you'll get a divorce and you get to be an ex-husband. Only a matter of time before she decides to take out the trash. You are the idiot. Look, Henry VIII, she didn't get to keep anything. She's a grown woman who chose to keep her name instead of bowing down to your ego. Get over yourself. She is your equal, your partner and wife, not your subject. Your son is not an extension of that ego. He's a separate human. Your family has no say in any of this. They and you need to grow up. Why bother marrying someone from a different culture if you're not going to respect it? You both made the child. It should have both of your last names. It's highly offensive in some cultures for the mother's last name to be cut off. She's not banning you from your child carrying your last name, but you're trying to take away her family lineage from her child that she gestated for 9 months. She's doing all of the labor in making the child. Her family lineage should also be respected and remembered. Your culture isn't more significant because you're male and American. If you don't like it, then you should have married a fellow Southerner with the same beliefs. No one told you to marry a foreigner that you can't respect. My 25 male, girl Lydia, 23, lives with a roommate who has a boyfriend, Jeff. We gathered at their place last Friday for pizza. After a while, Jeff asked Lydia if she is still scared of being here alone the nights the roommate goes over to his place and I can't come. Lydia has always had trouble being alone at night, and most nights I stay on FaceTime with her till she falls asleep, so she feels safer. The roommate laughs and says that if she hears a noise in the bathroom, it'll be a ghost and not Lydia passed out. Lydia just mouths, "Explain later," to me. When we got to Lydia's room, I asked her to explain, and she told me that this afternoon she wasn't feeling good and ended up fainting in the shower, so Jeff had to break into the door for her roommate to get in and help her. She said that she already felt better and didn't want to tell me because I would be worried for nothing. I said that it was something important if she had fainted and that I should be aware of these things to help her. She said that now it would just be a funny story about how Jeff broke the door and roommate had to cover her with a towel so they could come to the rescue of her naked. That moment I saw red. I asked if Jeff had seen her naked, and she said she couldn't be sure since she was unconscious, but the roommate said he stood out of the bathroom until she was covered. I asked if Lydia thought it was fair to me to not know that another guy had seen her like that, and she said he didn't actually see her, and that it shouldn't matter since he was only helping. I shouted that she had just said she was unconscious and couldn't know if he saw her. She told me to be quiet, or they would hear me, and I shouted that I didn't care, that a man just saw my girlfriend's body, and I had a right to be mad. Jeff and roommate came in, and then explained that he never saw anything. He just broke the lock and waited outside until the roommate gave him a clear. I said that I didn't believe him, and roommate jumped to his defense, saying she was right there making sure the situation wasn't embarrassing, so they could take proper care of Lydia without her feeling weird. Jeff then shouted at me, saying that I should respect his girlfriend and mine, who spent a whole day saying that she was fine, but still looked a bit pale. He said that he only did it because he cared about Lydia, that I was the idiot who didn't deserve any help. Hearing him say he cared about her was it for me. I left without as much as looking at Lydia as she begged not to go. Over the weekend, Lydia had to be admitted to the hospital as she didn't feel good again, and Jeff and roommate prohibited me from seeing her, saying I didn't deserve her. Obviously, the whole hospital thing sucks, and I wish I were there for her, but I still think I was right. At this point, I'm not mad at Lydia anymore, just at Jeff. Am I the idiot? Hey, OP, you spelled ex-girlfriend wrong. She probably had to be hospitalized from tripping over all the red flags you dropped. The roommate and her man are right. You don't deserve her. Until you grow up, you don't deserve anybody. Honestly, he should be glad that both the roommate and her boyfriend were in the apartment when this happened. You can drown in even an inch of water, and if she was passed out, she easily could have ended up blocking the drain and causing the water to rise in the tub. And even without that as a factor, she could have been seriously injured in the fall. I hope she dumps OP. What a controlling you are the idiot. Your girlfriend had a medical emergency, and someone helped her. She could have been seriously injured or even died. And you're worried about if another guy saw her naked? You should be thanking the guy. Do you also get mad and yell at doctors who see your body? Major idiot. I am 37 male with a young teen daughter, Ella, by adoption. She hangs out with these girls from her school every Saturday, and she usually comes home looking happy. So when this happened, I'm wondering if this is even the first time something like this has happened. Still, though, I have to know if I'm wrong here, as I'm constantly being told that I am by a few people. Last Saturday, I went to drop her off early, before work, since she would stay over that time. At some point in the night, I received a call from my daughter, who sounded like she was crying. I asked her what was wrong. Said, "Daddy, please come get me. I can't take this anymore." I again asked what was wrong, and she told me that the girls were forcing her to watch a horror movie, and she didn't like it. It got to the point where she wanted to go home, but her friend's mom was stopping her from leaving, no matter how much she begged to leave. She had to go to the bathroom to call me. I was shocked and told her to wait there, and that I'd call her mom to get her. She considers my girlfriend 32 to be her mom and vice versa. She said okay, and I hung up. I called my girlfriend and asked if she could go pick up Ella, and she went and did that. When I got back, my daughter was sleeping on my girlfriend's lap, and my girlfriend told me what had happened. When she got there, she knocked on the door, but she told girlfriend to buzz off and that girlfriend was ruining the fun. When girlfriend threatened to call the police if she didn't let our daughter out, she finally relented, and Ella was in complete tears. The girls and mom tried to justify it by saying that it wasn't a big deal and that it was just a film and that Ella was just a baby. We decided it would be better if Ella didn't speak to those girls anymore, since it's clear they didn't care about her feelings. We asked Ella if anything similar had happened before. She said they were a little mean to her, but she didn't think it was a big deal. I told her that it would be best if she didn't interact with them anymore. She agreed. When the mom and Ella's friends got wind of this, I got bombed with messages saying to forgive the girls. The mom admitted that it was her fault and that the girls shouldn't be punished for something that was her fault. The girls begged Ella for forgiveness, but she wouldn't. My parents and a few cousins are saying I should be lenient on them because they're teenagers and they're just like that. If I punish them like this, they won't learn anything. So, am I wrong here? Am I the idiot? Wait, the mom in the house wouldn't let the girl leave and told the girlfriend to buzz off when she came to pick up her daughter? There's no way I would allow my kids to ever be under the supervision of that mother again. If Ella doesn't want to speak to the girls again, that is completely her choice. Forgiving someone, which isn't required, doesn't mean you have to subject yourself to the same treatment again or even be near the other person. The girls aren't being punished. Ella is being protected, and the other girls are seeing the consequences of being mean to a friend. I still can't believe this woman tried to withhold your daughter. I think leaving this at not hanging out with them anymore is pretty damn lenient. What? This woman was holding your daughter hostage while she was crying? Good that your girlfriend threatened to call the cops. I'd never let a child anywhere near that mom ever again. I don't care if they were watching Dora the Explorer and your daughter was crying about that. You don't hold people against their will. What's wrong with this woman? Not the idiot, but make sure you have a proper conversation with your daughter.